Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you a spoiler-free review of American Marriage by Tayari Jones. So let's get into today's video. To start with, this book, that is American Marriage, is about a couple who are Roy and Celestial, and the story of their marriage and how their marriage have changed throughout the years that they have spent together, and also spent separated from each other due to certain circumstances. Now we'll get into the plot of the book. Now the main plot of the book is that we have this couple, as I said before, Roy and Celestial, and of these two, Roy is falsely convicted for a rape and he's thrown into prison. And Roy and Celestial are forced to live their lives separately, and they exchange letters when Roy is in prison. And when this happens, when this whole thing happens for a period of 3 to 5 years, I think it's 5 years on the whole, these two people start experiencing different things and they get different ideas of their lives, especially Celestial, and the story totally revolves around these two people. If you ask me, An American Marriage is a book that is mostly focused on a family rather than a marriage or a couple, and the characters in the book are so good. So we totally have three main characters in the book, who are Roy, who's the husband, Celestial, who's the wife, I just love that name, Celestial, and this third character called Andre, who's this childhood friend of Celestial, who's grown up with him in her house itself. This is because Andre's household was not that good, it was a bit abusive, and after that he's taken up by Celestial's parents and he grows up along with Celestial. And an example which I can compare this relationship with is that of Barry and Iris that you see in Flash, and these are the three main characters. And of these three, Roy is a person who's doing some kind of normal mundane stuff that every person does for their living, and Celestial is a woman who has doll making as one of her main business, and she makes these awesome looking dolls for very highly ranked government officials and many other people, and she makes a living out of that. And Andre is a person who's into the techno-savvy world. He's a person who's related kind of to the IT field, and these three life points meet at a time when Roy is separated from Celestial for having been convicted for this false rape case, and there are many turns that the relationship takes between these three people. And when Roy gets out of prison, another relationship occurs, and that is what makes the story even more complex and even more complicated. It might sound like a usual series kind of a drama story, but there is a lot of emotion which is packed into this by these three characters. Moving on to the writing of the book. Now, the writing of this book is so precise and to the point. Tayari Jones uses these words in order to convey those emotions that are experienced by the characters to the reader in a very pleasant yet effective way. Now, there is this particular paragraph that is of Celestial. We have different points of view, mainly these three points of view, that is Roy, Celestial and Andre. And in this point of view from Celestial, we have this paragraph where she experiences guilt, as well as she has this tornado of emotions to decide whether what she is doing is right or wrong. And the way that it has been written by Tayari Jones is so good. You can just feel how Celestial feels just by reading that one paragraph, and that talent of conveying that emotion within the least amount of words. The paragraph might have been just this much in the book, but the words that have been used by Tayari Jones in order to convey that emotion felt by Celestial to the reader, that was me. It was so breathtaking, if you ask me. I have not seen such good writing in a contemporary book for so many days, and this book was also part of the book club that is handled by Oprah Winfrey, and God, this writing style is so good. If you're looking for books that have very good writing, as well as the character work is so good, and it is not that much fictional. It must be happening. It must be a story which can feel like it can happen to anyone in this real world. Then you can definitely read An American Marriage, because it feels so real. It feels like a story that has happened, or that has the highest probability to happen in this world. So my overall thoughts on the book was that this was a book which encompassed and showed various sociological issues in a very good way, like racism and marital issues and the different ideologies of people towards marriage in a very passionate as well as different way. And the things which she has put forward are fresh. They are not things that have been discussed in books before by various authors, and she has also done this great job of using the right words in order to convey the emotions of people in a proper way. I rated this book a total of 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 stars because towards the end a small chunk of the book felt like it was a bit dragged too much instead of just in order to increase the page count. I felt like that, and if not for that small chunk of the book, I would have rated this a total of 5 stars. This had that potential to become a 5-star book for me, but due to that small chunk of the book, I rated this 4 stars. If you're looking for a good read, please do read An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. Okay, those were all my spoiler-free thoughts on the book, and if you did find this video enjoyable and informative, do give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you'd like to get more content from me, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.